Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Friday, June 23rd. This is Anything Goes podcast. And as you can see, it's just me tonight. Jimmy had some family obligations, so he will not be joining us. We have a bunch that we could talk about. I want to start off with if you listened to Trash Talking Tuesday this past week, we talked about the submersible that went down to see Titanic. It's very rare that you're going to hear me say I told you so. But if you listen to that show on Tuesday, basically exactly what I suspected had happened. Now, here's my feelings on this whole thing. Now, I don't know how much you all pay attention to what's going on social media with this or what, but all the conspiracy theories about you know why this happened. Oh my God, this is a huge distraction from other things. Is it a distraction from other things? Yeah, it is. But is it a distraction that was created to? I don't think so. I mean, you're talking about the lives of five people, four of which probably um, didn't ever think for a second that this was going to happen. The other one, the owner of the company who was piloting the craft, obviously he is more aware of the hazards and how he constructed his uh, submersible more than anybody. So he probably, even though he seemed like he didn't wasn't too worried about it. Um, but yeah, so the conspiracy theories that go along with this, I think, are all bullshit. Um, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not going to waste my time tying it up, trying to tie it to all these other things. Now you're hearing, going, oh, why the Titanic sank in the first place? It didn't just hit an iceberg. It was all planned. It had to do with, the Federal Reserve and all it. Whatever, man. I mean, so basically, what you're saying, if you believe that, is that you were able to find a captain and crew of a ship that willingly went along with sinking a ship, killing thousands. That's what you believe. That's it. I heard the same shit during 9/11. Some of you don't know. I was in the Pentagon on 9/11, and the conspiracy theories about the plane that hit the Pentagon are some of the most uh, humorous but bizarre. It wasn't a plane; it was a missile. No piece of a plane was found. Well, yeah, I'm here to tell you, I stood next to a tail section of the plane. So, yeah, you might want to rethink that. Um, but yeah, so uh, you know, let's treat it for what it is. Uh, does it distract from other things going on conveniently? Absolutely, 100% agree with that. Does that lend credence to the fact that this was done intentionally because they wanted to distract from it? No, it does not. And I believe that. I believe that on one hand, certainly it can be a distraction, and it is distracting because we focused 4 days on, uh, you know, doing that, and it irks me that well, why didn't the Navy, the Navy knew 4 days ago what happened? No, they didn't. They didn't know. Could they have possibly recorded a sound that's consistent with something imploding underwater? Yes. Uh, does that mean that they knew what it was? No. They heard a noise that could have been consistent, and they probably hear that noise more frequently than you think. Keep in mind, sound underwater travels for 1,000 miles. You can be in the Bahamas and they can hear a ship getting underway from Florida. So uh, it's not like hearing things from great distance is uncommon in the ocean. It's just not. It's just the way it is. But anyway, unfortunately, all five of the passengers, uh, they call them lost because they haven't actually recovered their bodies, and probably never will. Um, they are most likely they are, deceased, undoubtedly. And so, I feel bad for their families. It's just, it's a tragedy. Could there have been things done to maybe make it so, or you can never make it 100% that this wouldn't happen, but could there have been other things in place to help ward against this type of thing? Sure there could. Was the guy, the pilot, the owner, and I always forget his name, and I think it's Stetson something or something like that, I don't remember. Could he have taken a more safety conscious path in doing what he was doing in the creation of his submersible? Yes. He could have gotten it certified through whatever agencies there are out there that are certifying these things. Keep in mind, there's only a handful of craft that can get that deep. There's only a handful of them in the entire world. So, I don't know. I just don't buy into the theory that this was, done on purpose, and it's like, whatever. What else do we have to talk about today? Yeah. So it seems like professional sports are starting to come around a little bit. And we always talk about the pendulum swinging. If you remember, the Los Angeles Dodgers were giving out a community hero award to an organization, basically an anti-Catholic, LGBTQ plus organization, the something nuns. I didn't pay that much attention to their name, but they're the nuns. Basically, they're LGBTQ plus people who dress up as Catholic nuns and make fun of them and all that. And so the LA Dodgers decided that they were going to give them their community hero award. Of course, it caused a lot of uproar, and people were not happy about it. And think about it, this is LA, and people weren't happy about it. But the Dodgers, so the Dodgers invited them, and then after some backlash, they uninvited them. And then because of backlash, they re-invited them. So ultimately it happened. They showed up at the stadium and they were honored. But here's the cowardice shit that the Dodgers did. This is how the Dodgers handled it. Over an hour before first pitch, they brought him out on the field and presented him with the award. Over an hour before first pitch. There wasn't even, I would be willing to bet there wasn't even 1,000 people in the stands at that point in time. So these cowardly bastards who, promoted this, put this out there that, we're inclusive, they chose to do it when they knew nobody was going to be there. So it's interesting. It's interesting to me that that's when they chose to do it. Normally they do these things like, think about it. Think about going to a Major League Baseball game. Who's throwing? They do it right before someone throws out the first pitch, or they do it in the 7th inning stretch, or sometime when they're going to get max participation from the crowd or max support from the crowd. No, not what they did. They did this over an hour before first pitch was thrown. Cowards. And then, amazingly, almost after that, Major League Baseball came out and said that they are not going to put pride symbols on Major League Baseball uniforms anymore. Crazy how that worked. And oh, wait a minute. 2 weeks after that announcement, yesterday, I believe, the NHL came out and said that they are no longer going to be wearing special jerseys during warmups for their specialty days. So no more pride jerseys and all those things. So I think that these organizations are finally figuring out that, the term "go woke, go broke" is kind of true. And so that's two Now the NFL, I think that's a different animal. We'll see though. I mean, who knows uh, what the person. And now, what I love about this is, of course, now you have all the usually generally non-LGBTQ plus white liberals, rich white liberals that are now, oh, break out your bigotry flags, and NHL, break out your bigotry flags, MLB, break out your bigotry flags because you're not. So no, they didn't say they weren't going to support or celebrate Pride Month. They didn't say that they were going to exclude Pride Month. What they said was they're not going to have the players, they're not going to force the players to wear jerseys that may go against their religious beliefs. And the problem, think about this, think about hockey. A considerable number of hockey players in the NHL are from Russia. Homosexuality and LGBTQ is not an accepted thing in their country. So to force people who have to go home to their country when the season's over to celebrate these things potentially puts them in a serious predicament, and it puts their family members in serious predicament because they're not the United States of America. They don't have the freedoms to express themselves the way that we do here. So you're putting those players in a position where they basically are having to choose to get fined for not wearing the jerseys or celebrating however the league has decided that they need to celebrate, and or going home and potentially facing, in Russia, I wouldn't be surprised if it's criminal charges for celebrating the LGBTQ plus community things. So the NHL, again, they've come out after Major League Baseball came out and said that they were not going to put pride symbols on their jerseys, and said that they are no longer going to wear specialty jerseys during warmups before the games for Pride Month, for whatever other month they're celebrating, whatever. They're just not going to do it. Now, do I think that they're doing this because of what I just explained? No, I think they're probably doing it because the NHL specifically has been known as kind of the league that kind of just, they worry about hockey and they don't succumb to these, pressures of society that you have to do this and you have to do that or you're going to get canceled. I don't think they have any fear of getting canceled, but they also don't want to go down the road where they're going to lose any potential support fan base either. So yeah, I think money's definitely the bottom line for some of it, but it's their choice. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad thing. We don't watch sports, no matter what sport it is. We don't watch sports to listen to people bitch and complain about their personal issues. We don't care. I don't care if you don't like police officers. I don't care if you don't like the LGBTQ community. I don't care if you love the LGBTQ community. It doesn't affect me. I'm watching the sport because I want to watch the sport. I'm not watching it because I care whether they celebrate something or not. That's just me. And I think that, I don't think it's just me. I think that it's a considerable amount of the populace. We keep catering to this, less than 3% of the population on a bunch of shit. And again, the pendulum is starting to swing back, I think. And so these two leagues, these two professional leagues, have kind of pushed back too and said, yeah, we're just not going to do it. So, and they weren't specific, and MLB was specific to to Pride Month. The NHL, the way I read their article, is they're just saying they're just not going to do it at all for anything. So that doesn't mean they won't have the jerseys. I kind of feel like it doesn't mean that they won't have the jerseys. They're just not going to wear them in warmups. So I think the way it kind of sounded to me was this stuff's still going to be available in their stores and stuff if you want to buy a Pride jersey, but or whatever jersey, a cancer awareness jersey, whatever jersey, they're just not going to wear them during pregame. So, it is what it is. Get back to the games. Get back to the sport. While we're on sports, the women's U.S. National soccer team put out their roster, and as you would expect, Morgan and Rapinoe are both on it. They're looking to win their third consecutive World Cup. Not going to happen. And it's not because of, well, it is kind of because of Rapinoe, because she's so old now. She can't, I don't even know if she, I'm guessing she made the roster because she is Megan Rapinoe. But that team has been so degraded over the last 3 years that I hope they win. I mean, I'm never going to root against the United States in a global competition. But at the same time, that team's just not the team that we've had over the last, couple decades, really. So, ever since the Mia Hamm days, and they're just not. So they just announced the roster, so I'm sure they're going to start playing games, and we'll see how they do. I think recently they've lost. I mean, I know they lost to a team of 14-year-old boys, but they also lost to a team from, I think, Scotland, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but they lost to a team over there pretty bad. So we'll see how they do. But my expectations for their success at winning another World Cup this year, or next year actually, is not super high. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. And Megan Rapinoe is a big reason why that team is not going to be successful. And frankly, she's the reason why they've lost a considerable amount of their fan base as well. So go woke, go broke, it is what it is. Hunter Biden. Oof. Hunter had a good week and a bad week, but I think his week's is getting a lot worse than it is getting better. So if you haven't heard, obviously for 5 years, they've been investigating Hunter for tax evasion, investigating him for not paying his taxes, investigating him for his illegal purchase of a firearm. And so this week they announced that he is going to plead guilty to 2 of those charges, both of the basically tax evasion, misdemeanor tax evasion charges. And he's going to enter into a diversion program for basically he lied on his gun application. Now, here's my thing. I mean, the tax evasion ones, I don't really give a shit. I'll be honest with you. Don't really care. If we went to Congress today and investigated every single congressman or woman or every single senator, my guess is 85% of them probably haven't paid taxes. So, I mean, it is what it is in that regard to me as far as taxes. Now, what I find interesting and what I find to be pretty hypocritical, to be honest with you, is the gun charge. So the left is all, they're all about strict gun control, right? They're all about, we got to do more to make sure that people who shouldn't or aren't supposed to have guns don't have them. We got to make the penalties more harder. We got to make the jail sentences longer and harder, except if you're Hunter Biden. Because if you're Hunter Biden, it's perfectly okay if we just give you a diversion program and no jail time. If you're Joe Biden's son, perfectly fine that you lied on your application to illegally obtain a firearm. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing how that just changes when it's a specific individual. If it was you or me, we would be facing felony charges for lying on our gun registration or our gun purchase form. Not Hunter. Hunter gets to go to a diversion program, and if he's a good boy for 6 months and stays out of trouble, it goes away. It goes off his record altogether. So yeah, bullshit that it's not a sweetheart deal. And the liberals are just the lefties, Democrats, whatever you want to call them these days. That's just amazing. It's amazing to me that is their stance on this, because man, they're so hard over on making sure that the only people that get guns are the ones that should have them, and not crackheads. And Hunter Biden is clearly a crackhead. I mean, don't believe your lying eyes, but I've seen quite a few of the pictures that have been released to the public of him with a gun, a spoon, a liquid in the spoon, his little needle, his big table full of cocaine. No big deal with his, what are they? His trafficked hooker there with him. So yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that they don't have the same sentiment towards Hunter Biden that they do for you and me, the average American citizen, who, had we done this, you would already be in jail, because you'd be pending trial, and they'd probably make it so that you didn't get bail, and you'd probably be sitting in a jail cell for up to 2 years waiting for your trial to start. And you'd be facing felony charges, not a misdemeanor and a diversion program. So yeah, another example of that white liberal, rich liberal hypocrisy for you right there. Now, what's interesting is the attorney who was charged with investigating this has come out and said that he wanted to levy other charges, felony charges, and that the Department of Justice told him no. Well, shocker alert, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, came out today and said, no, that's not true. Mr. Weiss had all the, he had full authority to charge whatever he wanted to. And right. So who's telling the truth? Either Weiss is lying or Garland is lying. Who do you believe? I can tell you who I believe, and it's not Merrick Garland. Can you imagine? You've seen how he's performed as the Attorney General of the United States over the last 2 years. You've seen his performance. Can you imagine him being a Supreme Court justice? Can you imagine? I just don't understand. Now, I get it. He's pissed that he's not a Supreme Court justice, and he'll probably go to his grave with a grudge about that towards Republicans. And okay, it is whatever, but it's not going to happen. You're not ever going to be a Supreme Court justice, because I don't think at this point you would even be able to get confirmed. But man, he has just done. If his job as AG is any indication of how he would have been on the bench in the Supreme Court, God help us all. My goodness, thank God he would only been one vote. And obviously we still have the conservative justices still have a majority. But man, oh man, he's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. So yeah, anyway, I guess you take the good with the bad. I mean, the good news is he's never going to be a Supreme Court justice. The bad news is he's still the Attorney General, and he still sticks his hands in these things. He still hasn't fired Christopher Wray as the director of the FBI. He still hasn't done any credible investigation into Hunter Biden, his laptop, which now that the whistleblowers from the IRS are coming out and these messages that were subpoenaed from, I can't remember who they said, Apple maybe, where they got his WhatsApp messages and stuff like that. and his WhatsApp messages where he's basically telling these folks from China, hey, I'm sitting here with my dad and you owe us money. Excuse me. And you owe us money. So you need to pay us, or I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that my dad takes care of this. Yeah, all that's come out now. So now Merrick Garland's got he's got some explaining to do. Not that I ever expect that he's going to do it, but this just goes to show, eventually, and I know it takes more time than any of us want it to. These types of things seemingly take forever because they get slow roll. It's no different than the lowest learner IRS stuff when Obama was president, or what are some of the not Crossfire Hurricane? Well, yeah, even the Russia hoax took forever. The Fast and Furious, nothing ever came of that because Obama and Eric Holder never investigated it. Of course, they're not going to investigate themselves. So all these things, they seemingly take forever because they slow roll them. But eventually the stuff does come out. Now, some people may say, well, it comes out, but it's too late. But it's not. What the problem is the stuff comes out eventually, but then the same people continuously vote to elect the same people to come back in office to continue to cover up the same things. So these politicians are not stupid. They're geniuses. They understand completely that there is a certain demographic of voter that is going to vote for them strictly because they have a D next to their name, regardless of what they do, regardless of what evidence comes out. They know it's not going to phase them, and they're going to vote the way they vote because that's how they've always voted. So they know that. Where they lose it and where common sense comes in, and look, Republicans are no different. There's a lot of people that are going to vote for Republicans because they have an R next to their name. That's just the way it is. Where common sense comes in are people like me who are, even though I certainly have conservative views on things, and I think that the liberal Democrats' policies are absolutely fucking horrid. But people like me who more so identify as independents, that's where the common sense comes in, and that's where elections are won. So this stuff coming out, although it does seem that it's super, it takes a long time. It takes forever in a lot of cases. When it does come out, that demographic of voter, that independent, or what's the other word they use? It's not just independent. It's I can't remember. There's another term. Maryland uses a different term. They don't use the term independent. But that demographic is where elections are won and where common sense settles. Now, you do have far right and far left fringes that are never going to change, but you also have middle of the road RFK Juniors, or to a degree Joe Manchins, to a degree Kirsten Sinemas. It used to be to a degree Chris Coons, senator from Delaware. He's kind of moved much more left since the whole Kavanaugh thing. But you do have groups that are more closely aligned to them too. And there is a level of common sense that hits in those groups as well. So this stuff coming out, even though late or a lot longer than a lot would like, it does have an effect and it does change. Now, I think this Hunter Biden stuff, as it continues to roll out and it continues to get worse and worse and worse, I think it's going to give Joe an excuse to bow out of the 2024 election. Well, I don't know if he will, but it'll certainly give him the avenue to do that if he chooses to. And this is going to be kind of his get out of running jail free card, if you would say. and who knows, he might use it. But that would mean that somebody who actually could get elected, but it's going to have to happen soon because we're only 17, 18 months away from the election. So if he's going to do that, he's going to have to do it pretty soon because you're going to have to give somebody time, somebody who can actually get elected, like, I say get elected, actually has some favorability in the Democratic Party to run and give them time to build up that national reputation. You hear a lot lately about is Gavin Newsom going to run? Well, Gavin Newsom's already said he's not going to run if Joe Biden's running. But you can bet your sweet ass that if Joe Biden bows out, Gavin Newsom's going to be a name that you're going to hear. Now, I think you're going to hear a whole bunch of names. Kamala's probably going to run. Gavin Newsom will probably run. RFK, obviously, he's already running. Miriam, I mean, she's already running, but she's not gaining any traction anywhere. So you will have a whole bunch more people jump into the race if Biden decides to use this to get out of his running for re-election. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think this Hunter Biden stuff is going to just progressively get worse and worse and worse because, yes, is the tax evasion and the gun, the illegal possession or illegal purchase of a firearm thing, is that basically resolved? I think so. I think this judge, even though it's a Trump-appointed judge, I think he's going to accept the plea deal. That's really the only thing stopping it now is him saying, wait a minute, I don't accept this plea deal. We need to come back with something else. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to accept it. I think Hunter's going to get charged, or, he's going to plead guilty to these things. He's going to be sentenced to probation, probably pay a fine, and then that'll be said and done. But there's a lot of other things that I think are still going to get or continue to be investigated or brought to light where it's going to force the DOJ to have no choice but to do something. And again, who knows how long that's going to take. They've had his laptop for what, 2 years now, over 2 years now. And apparently nobody in the FBI has even looked at it. If they even still know where it is, who knows? Hopefully this shop owner, if he was smart, made a copy of the hard drive so that, if it happens to come up missing, they know where it is. But anyway, that's just my thought on that. And let me know what you think. You can email me at agpodcast13@yahoo.com. That's agpodcast13 at yahoo.com. Let me know what you think. Am I off the mark? Am I kind of where you are? Tell me. I'm big boy. I can handle criticism. That's not a problem. Hey, so we talked, if you listen to Trash Talking Tuesday, I have entered myself into the favorite chef competition, Food Network. The voting for the top 20 just finished. I was number 6, so I made the top 20. Voting has already started again for the next 6 days. You can vote once a day. It's easiest to do via Facebook if you have Facebook. But you can vote once a day for me. I have to be in the top 15 at the end of the next 6 days. And the link I just put up on the screen, it's HTTP. I don't know why I put S. You know why I put S? Because that's what we do. It's HTTP. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. All right. It's HTTP favoritechef.com/2023/Chris Hauk, Chris-Hauk. That's how you vote for me. I've also put the link, if you're on our Facebook page, I've put the link on there. You can go there and vote. I would appreciate it. There's 2 more rounds of voting, I believe. Top 15, then top 10. I'm not sure after top 10 how it goes for the top 5. I believe the top 5 are the 5 that make the show. So, but I don't know if there's I don't know if it's voting or what at that point. I appreciate all the votes I've gotten so far. And I hope that you all will see fit to continue voting. Let me just make sure I got that right. There it is. All right. Yeah. I appreciate every vote that I've gotten so far. I held strong. I went from 15th place to 9th place to 6th place really quick. And then I stayed at 6th place. So I'm gonna need to move that up. I'm gonna have to make a bid for the top 5. And if I bid for the top 5 now and I'm in the top 5, it seems like it's a cumulative votes. So all my votes that appears from the top 20 still remain because it still says that I'm in 6th. So I think you keep your votes from the previous round and you just continue to build. So please continue to vote for me. It's something that I really want to do and I really look forward to doing. And who knows, if I make the show, there may be some benefits to some listeners if I make the show. And yeah, that's really all I've got tonight. I will be back hopefully with Jimmy on Tuesday night for our next episode of Trash Talking Tuesday. And I hope that you all have a great, we're going to have a ton of rain here. I hope it's been raining for like 2 days straight. And I think it's supposed to rain all weekend where I am. So I hope you all have a bright, sunny weekend. And we will see you Tuesday.